Welcome to the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. I'm Sean Aylmer. Anyone in business knows that now, more than ever, there is so much power in data. The systems we use and the information that we capture can bring great insight into how well businesses are operating and what we can do better. MYOB is an Australian multinational corporation that provides tax, accounting and business services software to thousands of small and medium businesses. They see so much of the economy through the services that they provide, the data they see and the insights to business they can bring. It's an Australian success story, and I wanted to find out more from MYOB about the best ways to use digital data and how to provide the right services to the right clients. Today we're talking to Daniel West, Chief Sales and Support Officer for MYOB Australia. Now, Fear and Greed is a partner of the Accounting Business Expo, and MYOB is the title sponsor and the Central Cafe sponsor too. So, Daniel, thanks very much for keeping everyone caffeinated. Well done. Welcome to Fear and Greed.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's good to be back at an expo as opposed to a Zoom call.
It is. It's been 18 months of being stuck in my home office. And so to be, out here with our customers and partners and even my own team, some of whom I haven't met in person before, is great. It's great to be here. And this is my first Accountants Business Expo, but it's great for MYOB to be back at this event.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I have noticed in the last couple of months as we have come out of it, when you're with someone physically, it is amazing how much more you get out of the experience.
Absolutely. I think the major difference that I've observed over the last couple of years is that being on Zoom or Teams calls makes those interactions quite transactional. Yeah. Whereas when you're with people physically in a room, in person, you can whiteboard the creativity, the creative juices are flowing much more effectively. And it gives you an opportunity to really get to know people in a way that's, I think, far more effective than virtual meetings. While they served a purpose, because we wouldn't have got through the pandemic without them, I'm definitely glad that we're over that stage.
Okay, so let's get into it. You presented on the journey to good digitisation. I'm going to ask for a 101 first up. Mm-hmm. When you say digitisation, it must mean many different things to different people.
Yes, so digitisation for us, and good digitisation in particular, is what we mean by that is it's when everything really connects and it's cohesive. It allows you to have insight into your business and it allows you to automate the workflows that really matter. And that's what we mean by good digitisation. So as an example, we have identified 6 key business processes that when digitized can bring significant benefit to a business. So they're things like cash flow, revenue, what's the work in progress, what jobs do you have underway, how are you managing your suppliers, how are you managing your staff, and how are you staying compliant with the tax regulations and other regulations that you need to abide by as a small or medium-sized business.
Okay, so much of it is process, really. It's so long as you put in the correct information up front, MYOB does the work for you.
Yeah, our vision, I suppose, is to ultimately have a very seamless and cohesive experience across our platform so that when you enter data in one part of the system, that data traverses its way through the entire system and you don't have to re-enter it somewhere else.
Okay, so that's good digitisation. How important is that entering data part? And I know software companies spend, led by Apple, who have made the user experience so easy. How much is the user actually putting the information in up front and how much is the software company is responsible for making it intuitive?
So I think it really varies based on the business process that you're talking about. But let me give you an example. One of our recent partnerships is with a company called Flare. Flare is an employee onboarding and HR employee benefits solution. One of the great things for our customers with the Flare integration that we have developed is the employee, when they join an organization, they receive an email from Flare. They enter in their information. They enter in their name, their address, their contact details, their tax file number, and they effectively do that data entry on behalf of the employer that they're joining, which means that employer has now just become more efficient and saved time.
Stay with me, Daniel. We'll be back in a minute. My guest this morning is Daniel West, Chief Sales and Support Officer for MYOB Australia. Data, you mentioned that data seems to be a catch-all. Everyone says the world is about data. What exactly is data? I mean, it's nowhere near as complicated as some people make it out to be, I think.
I mean, data can be anything, right? Can be names, addresses, tax file information, invoicing, reports, sales figures, project IDs, project status. I mean, data is literally can be anything. Ultimately, it's ones and zeros.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So data, in a sense, is table stakes. Managing the data is the next step. How difficult is that to manage the data? I mean, that's what MYOB does, but it's not necessarily a simple process managing that data. Then the question after that is, who does it best, and how do you get your comparative advantage by managing data well?
So I think one of the things that COVID has shown us is that while it was always important to be digitally literate, it is now critical to be digitally fluent. So I think Microsoft came out with a stat that said that COVID in 2 years accelerated digitization, as much digitization as we would have expected in 10 years. And so it's really about digitally fluent is really about not just being able to interact with those digital tools, but it's knowing how to apply them. And it's knowing how to use those tools in a way that are going to drive benefits for your business. One of the things that we have seen from the research that we have done is that SMEs with advanced levels of digitization are 50% more likely to grow their revenue than those without. So it's not just digitization for digitization's sake, it's digitization to power the growth of your business.
Okay. And so give me the example of a well-managed digital or a company who has good digitization, how they can actually grow their revenue base. Is that through using that data to access customers more regularly? Is that the sort of thing we're talking about?
I would say that there are a number of different examples of how you could use data or digitization to drive growth of your business. One is that you understand which of your customers are using which of your products, and therefore where there are cross-sell and upsell opportunities. So where can you go and offer different services? Where can you go and complement what you were already offering to a customer to drive greater value for them? So that would be one area, is kind of cross-sell, upsell. Another area might be in the SME world, making sure that as an SME, you are able to gain access to cash when you need it. So, for example, having the ability to manage your inventory in a very tight way, and then being able to see that your inventory levels are maybe below a certain threshold, but you don't have enough cash at hand to be able to go and buy the inventory that you need, but you have a whole set of outstanding invoices with your customers, and using those outstanding invoices as collateral to get financing so that you can basically make those acquisitions and ensure that you have enough inventory on hand because your business is, business growth is accelerating or demand is accelerating due to some sort of external market factor or the fact that you've got brilliant marketing, right?
Yep.
And so those would be a couple of examples where data can be used very effectively to help ensure that a business is well positioned to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves.
Okay. Now, we learn as much from our mistakes as we do our successes. What are some of the most common mistakes that people make in working with data, bad digitization perhaps?
So I think the first mistake is not enough digitization, right? So keeping things too manual. So as I said, the pandemic was a trigger that got a lot of businesses online. As I mentioned earlier, Microsoft says that we have seen 2 years worth of digitization in 2 months. So 2 years of digital adoption in a 2-month period. But at the same time, we kind of saw this divide between the haves and the have-nots. So those companies who were able to, who maybe were larger in scale, were able to invest ahead of the curve and get themselves, ready, whereas smaller companies maybe didn't have those same advantages. MYOB's own modelling has shown that 1 in 5 Australian SMEs, so 466,000 SMEs, have low to no digital engagement. So they haven't started that digital journey at all. And we also, from that same research, know that the impact of those 20% of Australian SMEs becoming digitised can add an incremental $10 billion to the Australian economy. And so in the future, if those businesses don't digitize and there is another situation like another pandemic, they may not survive in that type of scenario. So the second mistake is too much digitization, right? So with the pandemic, a lot of people rushed out and digitized for the sake of digitization. They were very focused on keeping their doors open however they could, so they adopted as many digital tools as they could. But without a cohesive approach and a cohesive strategy, you end up oversubscribed. It's like
streaming services.
Well, I was going to say, it's like if you turn on your TV, if it's anything like mine, you've got Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus, etc. So you end up oversubscribed with all of these different services at your disposal. And so the risk there is that you end up with a bunch of different systems and applications that don't talk to each other and they're disconnected, and you don't get as much value out of them as you could. And so we believe that now is the time to really evaluate, just like everyone is doing with their subscriptions, evaluate which ones you really need and which ones you're getting value out of and which ones you can afford to let go. The third mistake, I think, that could be made is that you don't know what you've got at your fingertips. So, what's fantastic, as we talked about before, is that with digitization, it comes with a lot of power in the data and what you can extract from that and the benefits that you can drive with that. If you take MYOB as an example, there is a stack of reporting functionality in there that really helps you understand as a small business owner what works and what doesn't for your business and helps you make those future plans. But unless you invest as the user or the business owner in really understanding what those tools are capable of, you're never going to get the most out of them because you're not using all of that functionality and all that capability that it can provide, and therefore not getting all of the value that they can offer. So one of the things we're doing from an MYOB perspective is putting a lot of investment into our customer success team to ensure that our customers have the support and the resources that they need in order to be able to adopt those parts of our platform that are going to help them get the most out of our offerings and help them power their businesses accordingly. And then the last mistake is, forgetting to rely on the advice of your trusted advisor. We hear time and again how crucial our accounting community and the bookkeeping community are to small businesses. They are their trusted business partners. They are the people that they go to help them make decisions on where they should be focusing their business and the types of digital tools that they should be using. But particularly when it comes to business management software, SMEs should really be talking to their advisor, to their accountant, to their bookkeeper about how they can get the most value out of those digital tools that they've invested in, because ultimately those people are the subject matter experts.
Daniel, thank you for talking to Fear and Greed.
You're very welcome.
That was Daniel West, Chief Sales and Support Officer for MYOB Australia, who's appearing at the Accounting Business Expo in Sydney. This is a Fear and Greed Daily Interview. Join us every morning for the full episode of Fear and Greed, Australia's most popular business podcast. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.